Commanders family, what's good? We are out here in D.C. at Franklin Hall amongst the best fans in the NFL. We got a special command center for you, and it's all live. We have Logan Paulson, the prospect professor, pulling up and talking about all things draft. But first, we got some big announcements. It's not just RFK. The draft in 2027, we got some big news for you. And then to end the show, last but not least, we got the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, pulling up and talking about free agency draft and all the fun things to come for the Washington Commanders. We got rookie minicamp all the way, and all that starts right now on Command Center Live from Franklin Hall out in D.C., baby. What's good? We are live out in D.C., out in Franklin Hall amongst our Commanders fans. We are here for a live special of Command Center, but today we got the game day crew with us. Brian Cooper Jr. here with Super Bowl champion and future Hall of Famer Brian Mitchell, and then Mr. 8 to the 9. Santana Mars. Let's get loud for him. We appreciate that love. I'm not used to having a live audience. We appreciate that. Now, first things first, before I say anything else, y'all heard me call him future Hall of Famer Brian Mitchell. From now on, that's how we will refer to Brian Mitchell until he gets that call, because we know it's coming. Good things are coming here, and we have some big, big news today, B. Mitch.
Yes.
Big, big news. 2027, the NFL Draft will be coming to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
We will be hosting the 2027 NFL Draft. B. Mitch, you better than anybody know how important that is for this city. What does it mean for the city to have an event come like that out here?
Well, you know, you look at the nation's capital, you want to have everything you can there. All these cities have had draft and all that, but nothing is better than the backdrop of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Backdrop of the Lincoln Memorial. All those different things out there. And to get a new stadium, which I believe is going to be happening, we're going to listen to the council members say what they want to say. This thing is going to be done. And I believe that when you have the nation's capital, you get that new stadium, you get the draft, you're going to see how good things are, good things can be. Then all of a sudden you start seeing Olympics. You start seeing World Cups.
Yeah.
You start seeing some of the biggest sporting events in the world coming right here, and it's supposed to be like that.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think when you think about it, it just shows you the direction that the city and the team is, moving in. And I think it only comes to a place when the football team is starting to,
when it fixes everything.
Yeah, show signs and stuff of being, dominant. So I'm happy. I'm pretty sure everybody's in the city happy. Also economically, you know what I mean? When you think about the money it's going to bring in to the different restaurants, the different people. We were just talking about what Detroit made, in the draft. I had no clue. I had no clue that kind of money is brought in. So I'm looking forward to it because I know bigger and better things are to come.
The economical impact of Detroit was $213 million. All the new stuff they had built around there. And then over that little 3 to 4 days, it was $160 million spent there.
Wow.
Can you imagine D.C.? With all those people, they had about right around 600,000 in Detroit. They estimate 1 million people coming here to D.C.
Easy.
And we're a more fun city anyway. We're going to just have a lot more fun. So you can expect about $500 to $700 million, which would be great for the city.
And B, the reason we are a more fun city is because we have the best fans in the NFL in the building. Shout out to all of our Commanders family. Y'all deserve it. And all these good things, of course, happen, like Tanner said, when the team is winning. And it's not just the draft. It's RFK as well, B. Mitch. You are the only person other than Logan Paulson in college that has gotten to play at RFK. So this means this is a little closer to home to you, right?
Oh yeah, man. Listen, that stadium, everybody know that it actually moved. The stadium rocked. They were bringing those temporary stands, and they will make them move. But the fans were right up on you, and I believe that Josh Harris, because he had been in that stadium as well, is going to build something very similar. He had 54,000 in RFK, and it was as loud as any. 65,000 they expect to be in the new stadium. I just can't wait to see it. And then you start talking about waterfront property. We got to keep Fred off the boats. But you know what? I think it's going to be a great, great thing. And you look at all the possibilities of different restaurants, bars, and all that right on that area down there. It will be a great economical impact for this city, big time.
And just thinking about what it used to be, you know what I mean? Like those Super Bowls, how rich that soil is that just sitting. We ride by, ad nauseum that time, because I'm always passing through there going into Maryland. And I just look at it because I never experienced the Rockin'. I never experienced a game there. I never experienced being a fan there. But not only that, each and every city that we go into, that has a football team, baseball team, a basketball team, you normally see their stadiums not that far apart. So it's great to know that we can bring our stadium back now, and that we can, join the Nats, join the Capitals, join all these other teams that's in our city.
Commanders
And
fans.
you said Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You build a new stadium. I used to build the NFLPA. I was on the executive council. If you build a new stadium, you will get the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So just expect one to be here in D.C. as well.
Would y'all be excited for a Super Bowl in the city?
No question.
while we're playing in it.
Now, there is a lot to look forward with this team's return to D.C. As the Commanders continue to make progress on honoring their legacy, the next steps will be getting approval from City Council. Now, be sure to check commanders.com to follow the team through this exciting time. Now, Brand Weinstein joined our Get Loud crew to talk about being there for the press conference. It's time for Best Seat in the House, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
So you said this is a full circle moment, and I'm sure what reinforced that was seeing all of these franchise legends there at the same time, everyone on the same page saying this is where the stadium belongs.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, we had legends there. Riggo was there. Darryl Green was there. Doug Williams was there. Joe Gibbs was there. I thought it was really fitting that here's Joe Gibbs sitting next to Dan Quinn, like almost like a true passing of the torch, like the glory days of this franchise in the stadium that was beloved by the region. And they're sitting next to each other. And the last time that Washington had a season like the one that they had a year ago is when Joe Gibbs was coaching them back in 1991. So it felt very fitting to be part of that. You never know, like, it's a press conference, so you don't know what the reaction is going to be, but like, that was raucous in there. I mean, you could like the genuine emotion of this announcement being made was really truly breathtaking. And again, I was just so happy and really, honored that they asked me to have a role in that, because for me, I'll just never forget that for the rest of my life. I love this franchise. I love the position I'm in with it. I'll never take it for granted. And that moment, just to have any role or part of that, really, it's really, really amazing.
Let's go back to B. Mitch's days in the burgundy and gold for this can't miss moment presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. Now, B. Mitch started his future Hall of Fame career in Washington in 1990 and played the first 6 seasons of his career at RFK Stadium. Now, one of those seasons included an NFC Championship victory over the Detroit Lions in D.C. This propelled Washington to Super Bowl 26, where they defeated the Buffalo Bills. B. Mitch led the NFL in punt return yards and touchdowns during Washington's 1991 season. He missed some big moments in your career happening out at RFK. Now, let's keep the rest of the show going by talking about this 2025 Commanders draft class, including our first-round pick, Josh Connerly Jr. Let's check it out.
The Washington Commanders select Josh Connerly Jr.
Are you not entertained? Come on, man.
Let's take a look at the Commanders' 2025 draft class for this week's Top 5, presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890. Now, here's a look at the Commanders' 2025 draft class. Of course, at number 1, Josh Connerly Jr. Then at number 2, Trey Amos out of Ole Miss. Then in round 4, the speedster Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech. Then round 6, Kane Madrano, the linebacker out of UCLA. He had the fastest 40 time out of all linebackers. Then our last pick in round 7, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, the running back out of Arizona. Now, stay tuned for our Raise Hell with the Rookie series, where I will sit down with the Commanders' 2025 draft class. Can't wait for that. Stay tuned on the Commanders YouTube page. All right, now, this ain't just us talking to y'all. We got some guests for y'all, but they need some energy. They need some noise. So I need y'all on the count of 3 to give me a hell yeah. Y'all can do that for me? 1, 2, 3. All right, one more time, because this one needs a little more energy. He's a little deaf in one ear. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3. All right, welcoming our brother. Honestly, I thought you were still sitting in the corner, Logan. I know yours already here. Those hell yeahs were all for you, man. How you feeling, man?
I feel great. Thanks
you
for
look
having
good,
me.
brother.
Thanks. You look amazing, as
hey,
always.
I really appreciate
the hair
that.
looks
I try my
great.
best.
Amazing.
Shirt looks good.
Thanks, man. I try my
Amazing.
best. We all look good. Now, Logan, this is I have a lot of fun watching you during this time because the draft is really your wheelhouse here because you are the resident prospect professor. Now, the Commanders in a lot of places got an A grade for their draft class. Would you agree, and why do you feel they got such high praise from the national media?
Yeah, I mean, I'd absolutely agree. I think when you look at what they did with the 5 picks that they made, they pick guys that are going to fill roles for this team, right? And I think make this team significantly better. And I think you get guys with tremendously high floors, but also high ceilings. And I think that's the delicate balance you're always walking in every single draft, right? Is how do we get the safety of a high floor prospect, but also the potential of getting someone who could start and play for 10 years for the organization.
You know, you look at the first round pick, and everybody looks at that. What's the next pick that you think what was very important to get done?
I mean, I think it's like picking between my kids. You know, you do so much studying with these prospects, like you really fall in love with all of them, right? And so I look at, you know, obviously Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech and what he does as a returner and the role he's going to fill for this team. I look at Moderno from UCLA, the linebacker, and I say, man, his athletic upside could be really, really special. The running back Merritt, I think also, man, people sleep on him because he only played 1 game last year, but I think he could be special moving forward also. So there's just so many pieces here. I think they just did such a good job. And even in free agency with the UDFAs, I thought they found some nice pieces there as well. So kudos to Adam Peters.
Hey, going into this draft, just knowing that we only had 5 picks, would you have thought that we would have this high of a grade, just knowing that it's not that many to really choose from or bring in when it's only comes to 5 picks?
I mean, I'm going to get a little nerdy here, but I think
surprise.
Ideally you want to have as many picks as possible, as many bites as the apple as possible, because the more swings you get, the more likely you get a hit. But I think the great thing about what Adam did is you can tell they did a ton of research and prepping for this, right? So when you look at the guys they ended up with, they're all, again, like I said, they're all good players, right? You look at Connerly as a great example. Like, he gave up 0 pressures in 10 starts last year. Like, that's an unbelievable statistic. Like, even by accident as a defensive player, you fall into 1 pressure. And then you look at his athletic profile. He runs about a 5 flat 40. He's got a 34-inch vertical. He's got one of the faster 10s at the combine. He's got 30. It checks all these boxes that you see the elite guys at the position have, right? So when you meld that all together, high floor, technical understanding, coupled with the athletic ceiling, like, that's what they did at every single pick. And I think that's, again, just it's a testament to Adam, but it's a testament to the scouting department in general and what they're able to do.
And you talk about not just the athletic ability, but those things, those intangibles, the things between the ears. And that is what head coach Dan Quinn has said about the guys he wants to bring in. Now, you have the pleasure of hosting the game plan with head coach Dan Quinn. With me. I'm just in the background, man. I'm just around some geniuses right there. I'm having a great time. It's a great time. Logan, when you talk to Coach, he has said it. We want to bring guys in that are Commanders. Can you elaborate a little bit on what that truly means? Because it's not an on-the-field thing. It seems to be mostly off the field and, again, in between the ears.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Well, let me comment on this real quick. I think it's great that him and Adam have such a aligned vision, right? I think we've all covered teams. We've all been a part of teams where that vision doesn't quite line up. And so watching them just be on the same page completely and utterly, I think speaks, again, to why this works so well. It's like, Adam understands what the coaches wants. The coach understands what Adam's looking for. And in terms of what that actually is, it's guys that are self-starters, self-motivated. They're going to get better. I think that's ultimately what you're trying to be betting on, and why I get so excited about the draft class, because they all seem to be these self-starters, self-motivated guys who are going to be improving. And that's ultimately, like, if I'm going to bet on somebody, it's someone who's going to work to get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you look at a guy like Trey Amos, they bring a guy in, a defensive back, and we were kind of interested to see what that defensive back room would look like because we were pretty successful. But you got to have a guy like Trey Amos who has that length, who has that speed, those things that Joe Witt Jr. covets. Guy from Louisiana. Logan, when you look at a pick like that, why do you look at that and say this guy is going to thrive in a Joe Witt Jr. defense?
Well, I mean, you talk about the physicality that he brings, the athleticism, the length. I think that's all great, but I think the thing that really separated him from the other DBs in this class was his ball skills. His ball skills were tremendous. The way he instinctively played in zone coverage, the aggressiveness he played in man, and then his ability to turn the football over. Like, he had some tremendous. If you got some time tonight, go home, check it out, watch his interception cut up. Like, you'll see a guy with tremendous body control. And I think that's the thing that really, when I look at the guys that have been successful for Joe Witt Jr. in his defensive philosophy, it's guys that can turn the football over, and he can do that at a high level.
They talk about athletic freaks. Jalen Lane, Tanner.
Yeah.
Boy is a speedster, is going to look good. What we already have brewing in our wide receiver room. When you look at a guy like that, how excited are you to see what he can do in a Cliff Kingsbury offense?
I say, so the first thing that jumped off the chart is just his 4.3.
Yeah.
You know, you see 4.3 and you look at the history of the draft. Most guys that run those times, you know, they didn't even have to have I guess you can say, good film. Teams was going to go after them because speed kills. You know, speed is something that you can't teach. But then when you watch his film and you look at the quarterback play and you say, well, like, God, how did he even go out here and have the season that he had?
Yes.
He didn't have the production from the QB that you would hope for a guy with his kind of, talent would have. But what jumps out to me is just, it screams Cliff Kingsbury. The things that he did in VTech, the reverses, the slip screens, just getting the ball in his hands. When you watch how we played last year, the different things that Cliff would dial up for guys with the talent that he has, that's what I'm looking forward to. And not only that, just when you look at him as a punt returner. I mean, we've been looking for a punt return. We've been looking for returners, period.
Yes.
So just to know that we have a guy coming in here that potentially might be number one on the chart as a punt returner, I mean, what more could you ask for? So I'm looking forward to seeing what 83 can do.
And B-Mitch, I can watch him a ton. He's got that 11-foot broad jump. He's got a 40-inch vertical. Like, you see him in the offense. I understand offensively his impact, his ability to stretch horizontally and vertically. But what makes him such a unique player as a returner? Like, what separates him from the other guys that are returners in this class?
I think he's not fearful, first of all. He catches the ball and he goes at it. A lot of people are very fast.
Why is that so important, though?
Because
that's what you did. Are you just saying that because that's what you did, or what?
No, what I'm saying is, when you get a punt return, you want to get in and out of a hole as quick as you possibly can. If you start running at them, they slow down. Can't nobody make a tackle with somebody running full speed just slowing down. If you start sideways, you allow more people to get into your area, and it's a lot harder to miss him. But if he starts full speed one way, those people move. That's a lane over there. And he has the speed to get through it. I was listening to his coach talk on the radio, and he said, listen, he has an uncanny knack of making the play when you need one. And that's a guy that believes in himself. So I'm looking forward to it. I've reached out to him already. He and I are going to be talking. So I'm going to put a little B-Mitch in him, too.
Well, I think the other thing about him that sticks out to me is his contact balance is tremendous, right? Like, you see these guys that are
Breaking
fast,
tackles.
Tana, but, like, he can break those tackles.
Yeah.
He can catch the ball in traffic. He's got a toughness to him, which I know I'm not going to compare him to a Hall of Famer and B-Mitch, but, like, that's what made you special is the ability to break a tackle and get vertical. And he's got a little bit of that to him.
Yeah, that's one of the things you want from a guy that has that role. You have to have balance back there. I think the more successful guys are the guys that able to elude guys without having to go sideline to sideline, like what B-Mitch just mentioned, going straight at them. And one of the things that stood out to me is what that let me know that he was going to probably be one of those guys for us is he goes into the teeth of the defense when they're coming down and catches the pass without watching those guys. That was one of the key things that my coach back in college, when he transformed me to that position, he's like, bro, we watch you catch kicks and you're not paying attention to the guys. Not saying that that's a good thing, but you're not scared. You know what I mean? And
if you looking at them, tell you ain't gonna catch that ball.
Exactly. So sometimes you got to have big, man, just to do what you do. And he has it, man.
And Commanders fans, this is the beauty of Command Center. We're getting information from guys that actually did it. And it's astute analysis. It's great analysis. And Tana, I want you to elaborate on this because we're talking about Jalen Lane, a higher draft pick, but we're talking about him as a returner. That's a very crowded wide receiver room, and there are some dogs in that room. You've been in that position before. You were a first-round pick, but you made your way as a punt returner. You made a name for yourself as a punt returner. Why is that so important for Jalen Lane to come in and do the same thing?
Well, B-Mitch know this. The more you can do. I think one of the things that we fail to realize about playing football, and people probably look at it from the outside and say, well, he plays this, he plays that. And sometimes you wonder why certain guys are on a team. Well, those guys that's running down on kicks, those guys that's, defending those kicks sometimes, like, they play other positions as well. So if I can keep a guy on my team that's a receiver, a punt returner, maybe be a flyer that can run down on kickoffs, all those different jobs that he can take on, that means we need one less other guy, or two of them, so he can keep one guy. So that stands out to me, just knowing that you got a guy coming in a receiver room where, it's going to be a lot of competition. That's what you want. That's another thing that I love about what I see what we're doing, with our, the guys in the front office. They bringing in depth, but not only depth, they bringing in competition. They bringing in guys that's going to push the other guy to either you're going to be here or you're going to be gone. And so when you get a guy like Lane, he comes in and automatically those guys who there, they not going to be so friendly out the gate. You know how it is when you get a young guy here. Even though he's not a high draft pick, they know he can play. They watch the tape too. And so now he's going to be able to push some of those guys that's in front of him because he can do more. He's going to play those special teams roles that they're not going to play.
And Logan, to Tanner's point, iron sharpens iron. So when you look at a crowded linebacker room, a very successful linebacker room, then you add a guy like Kane Madrano, your UCLA Bruin, somebody that is a linebacker, but looks like a safety on tape because of how fast and how he moves. You got to break down this footage a little bit. What about him stands out to you, and why are you so excited about this pick?
I mean, I think a couple things. One, like Jalen Lane, he's got a very clear role to the field through teams, right? So when you look at a developmental prospect, it's always nice that they have that buffer, right? That ability to kind of sit on the roster and earn their keep while they get better at the position. But I think the thing that is unique about him and maybe makes him one of the more unique players in the draft is he played a version of safety for UCLA, played middle linebacker at UCLA, played weak side like overhang linebacker. He played an edge rusher in that defense. So he really played all over the field, and it really is a testament to his football IQ, but also his athleticism, right? And I think that's the thing about him that's going to be so unique is like, where does he actually fit? He's a little bit small to be a true linebacker, a little bit big for his safety, a little bit undersized for an edge rusher, but he has all those skill sets in the bag because of the tremendous athleticism. So what does Joe Witt Jr. do with him? And in a system that prides itself on having some flexibility, he's a player that embodies that. He does have to develop a little bit, but he's super exciting because he brings all of that kind of opportunity to the position, I guess.
A lot of studs with those first 4 picks. Now, Commanders fans, who wanted to get a running back in this draft? Raise your hand. Anybody want to get a running back in this draft? Well, we did it, and you should be happy. Even though it was a 7th-round pick, we got us a dog in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Now, he only played 1 game, but it was not because of injuries. It was because of eligibility. So there's not a lot of miles on those because of the NCAA. But again, it's not a guy that's hurt. It's not a guy that couldn't play or got in trouble. It's just a guy that got a bad shot. But it could be our advantage because, again, there's not a lot of miles on those tires. B-Mitch, when you see a playmaker like that, get added in the 7th round. How valuable is that? And do you see him being able to make his way on this roster?
It's valuable because you didn't pay the load you would have paid if he had played all last year and he got drafted in the first, second, third round. But when you see him in the 7th round, he's going to bring great value. He can run the football effectively. He can catch the ball at the backfield. Doesn't mind sticking his nose in at a block. When you get guys like that on your football team that can do everything at that low of a round, you can make it. I think we get caught up in thinking you got to be a 1st or 2nd rounder. A lot of people in the Hall of Fame were not drafted. A lot of them were drafted in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 12th round when I came out of college. But, you know, they get drafted late and they find a way. I believe this coaching staff, when they draft somebody, why are you looking at me, Logan?
No, I'm sorry, I'm looking at me.
He said 12 rounds. He's bothering me.
You're telling your age. You told everybody it was 12 rounds back then.
But they draft guys that they believe could compete. And I believe that kid is going to make somebody uncomfortable. And that's what you have to do, no matter who they are, make them uncomfortable.
I got a question to ask Logan and Fred, but Fred will probably answer when he get up here.
Fred!
So question. So remember we was talking about the running backs. It was like 30-plus running backs that could be drafted. Was he one of the guys on your list?
I thought so. I mean, I had a 3rd-round grade, a 4th-round grade on him, basically. And he was a guy that I thought he just, like, when you turn, if you like running backs and you watch a good runner, like, he's got that ability. He's got great vision, great contact balance. He has the ability to home run. He ran a 1.50 as a 10-yard split for a guy over 200 pounds.
That's moving.
That's really impressive. He had a 40-inch vertical. You see that explosiveness on the film when you watch him run. So, again, he's got a great feel for seeing the hole, finding the cut, and he's got the great contact balance and the ability to home run. You saw that in New Mexico. So, again, he only played 1 game last year, but he rushed for over 100 yards. He played in the All-Star game, the Shrine Bowl. He was the MVP, offensive MVP. So even though he didn't play a lot this year, I think that speaks a lot to the mentality that he brings. Very physically gifted, but also a guy that stuck with it throughout the year and put his best foot forward in one of the bigger moments of the year at the Shrine Bowl.
He stayed ready, and B-Mitch, Logan was looking at me like that because he's like, how can you mention all these draft picks and not mention the undrafted guys? Logan Paulson being an undrafted guy, London Fletcher being an undrafted guy. Logan, man, we know you've been in the film room a lot. What undrafted guys stand out to you and that gets you a little excited that maybe could be a part of this team?
So a guy that, I forget his name, he's from Jackson State.
The safety out of Jackson State.
So he's 6'2", he's 210 pounds. He came to Jackson State as a corner. So there's a game that they're playing in, and this is, I don't have a life, so I figured this out. But he played corner, then moved to linebacker, and then moved to defensive end in 1 game. So he's a guy that can play in the box, he can cover outside, and when you look at the safety position and the modern iteration of the position, you got to be able to cover tight ends, you got to be able to fit the run. And so this guy in 1 game covered a receiver and was taking on pulling offensive linemen. So I look at him and I say, man, if you're looking for a skill set that really feels like that Jeremy Chin archetype, and a guy that can play teams, he feels like that could be the role for him. And so again, He's an undrafted free agent. It's going to be a long road to make the team. But when you see a guy that moves like that, that's physical like that have those coverage instincts, he's a guy that sticks out to me.
Logan, appreciate your insight. Before you go, we did add
Robert
somebody.
McDaniel. That's his name, Robert McDaniel.
Robert McDaniel. Shout out to Robert McDaniel, safety. That's pretty tough. Now, before we let you go, I want to ask y'all, who here is a Sean Taylor fan? Can y'all raise your hands? Can I get a hell yeah for Sean Taylor? Can I get one more hell yeah for Sean Taylor? Amen, amen. Now, family has been brought to the Commanders on a rookie minicamp invite. And Tan, I'm going to let you talk about this. Gabe Taylor, Sean Taylor's younger brother, has come home. Will be part of the Burgundy and Gold for rookie minicamp, man. You had a very special relationship with Sean, man. How much does that mean, just as a family aspect? 'Cause at the end of the day, this Commander thing we got is a family, man. How special is that?
I think it was huge for them to open the door and just allow him to make that decision to say, hey, what people fail to realize is he was a guy like others who wasn't drafted that had free agent deals pop up. And he said, screw that. As long as they accept me to come in and practice for them, I will practice for them. So that just shows you where he at, when it comes to mentally, where he's at. I mean, and that's what his brother was about. Those guys just have that competitive edge, man, that you can't teach. It was kind of taught, though, because his dad, Pete, he's one of those guys. I remember Pete asked me years ago, probably 2 years ago, to ask someone what's his grade is coming out in the draft, and he was probably a sophomore at the time. So I was asking Logan, because I know Logan's our guru. Our draft guru. Logan was Logan's our draft guru. So I was asking Logan, do he know a grade on him yet? But no, he's the guy that can play. So hopefully he comes in here and shows something that they're able to say, hey, we're willing to keep him,
Yeah, and it's just dope that the ownership and that the coaching staff understands the importance of family. And that's something we've seen a lot, and we understand the importance of family. We love y'all so much, man. Shout out to our Commanders fans, and shout out to Logan Paulson. You can catch him on the Game Plan. You can catch him on Ticket to the Draft. You can catch him on the award-winning Command Center podcast. You can honestly catch Logan on every local podcast that exists in the DMV. He's always on a podcast.
He's on one every day.
He has so much great information, but you can catch him on the Commanders YouTube page almost every day of the week. Shout out to the prospect professor, Logan Paulson, my Cali brother. Give it up for Logan Paulson. It's time for Securing the W, presented by Hercules Fence. Security in every job. Now, here's a look at the Commanders' undrafted free agents heading into the Commanders' rookie mini camp. Now, this list is very, very important because much like Big Dog London Fletcher and Logan Paulson, you can make the squad as an undrafted guy. Can't wait to see these guys go out there and compete. Now, we are out here at Franklin Hall in D.C. for a special live edition of Command Center. It's only right that we end the show with the man of the people, the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, back on the stage. If y'all don't know this, whenever we have Logan Paulson on the show, Fred Smoot gets really, really jealous. He gets really upset. He needs the same amount of airtime, if not more, than Logan Paulson is in his contract. So I need y'all to do me a favor. We ain't gonna do a hell yeah this time. On the count of 3, I need the loudest smooth y'all can give us, all right? 1, 2, 3, smooth. There we go. It sounds a lot like Boo. It sounds a lot like Boo.
No. That's why I work on the road. You know what I'm saying? But I must say this. Y'all have to excuse me. I'm not used to coming in the game this late. So y'all excuse me. And by the way, hashtag Let Smoot Cook. That's what we need to start on the internet right now.
Now, Fred, I'm sorry we had you on the bench.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we got to save the best for
it
last,
did
right?
Hurt. It hurt.
Because you are the self-proclaimed draft guru.
Yes, I am.
However, you actually won a competition.
Yeah.
He won a competition, B, against Logan Paulson.
Yeah.
And now his official title is draft guru.
First
Can you
time
talk to
you
us
ever
about
beat
that,
Logan.
Fred?
Well,
First
you
time you
know,
ever
the thing
beat him.
about it is, Logan, the Paulsons, had to bend the knee to House Smoot. Right? That's what happened right there. He had to bend the knee. I was a better draft guru than him. The one thing I can say about Logan, he crosses his T's and he dots his I's. He knows what he's talking about, just don't know more than me. See, that's the thing about it. So he's not a bad guy. He's just not what they call top tier. Right? You know, we're going to get him there, though. We're going to get him there.
We gonna get him there, Fred. While you sat so patiently, you heard us talking conversation, and we got to bring you in on that conversation. So first things first, free agency. I know you were very, very excited about how we handled ourselves during free agency. Brought in some defensive backs. How are you feeling? Can you talk to us a little bit about how you felt we fared during free agency?
I felt like we won free agency. Yeah. And if you really look at our draft, I hear people out say we didn't have a 5 draft pick. No, you have to put Laramie Tunsil, you had to put Marshawn Lattimore and Debo Samuels as a part of that draft class because we gave those draft picks away to acquire those guys. So we got an all-pro tackle, we got a Super Bowl wide receiver, and we got a all-pro type corner all through the draft picks. So if you ask me, we won the draft, especially when you say you're going to bring Connolly, another tackle that can be a future starter. So now if you really look at the offensive line, let's really look at it for religiously what it is. We have a all-pro left tackle. We have now Coleman going to guard. All right, he did well at tackle. He has Pro Bowl capabilities. We got Sam Cosman, who already is a Pro Bowl. You have Biotis, who's a Pro Bowl center. All right, that's 4 out of the 5 positions right there. So at the end of the day, he looked at the division and said they got all pass rushers, so we're going to fortify and we're going to protect JD5.
Couldn't say it better, huh?
Couldn't say it better.
Right, Tabernacle.
But look, Fred, the question is, many people understand what they're doing offensively to make sure they protect Jaden.
Yeah.
Defensively, they got a lot of interior people.
Yeah.
Is it that they feel comfortable with some of the guys that came on last year that they didn't force themselves to go out and get somebody on the edge?
See, you got to think about B. Mitch. People see the game changing, but they don't want to change.
Yeah.
What we seen in that the NFC Championship, we got the heart. We need to get bigger. We went and got bigger on both sides of the ball. All right? And did we get bigger with pass rushers? No, we got bigger with run stoppers. Because last time I checked, they ran their way to that Super Bowl. Last time I checked, the best teams in the league were running teams. So why would I go get I just had an edge rusher that had, 10, 12 sacks, but couldn't stop the run. So I went and got bigger edges. I'm going to stop the run, and I'm going to make you be one-dimensional, and I'm going to force you to throw the ball. I'm going to listen to what the league telling me, and the league telling me now my defensive end need to be ready to play the run.
And Fred, with that, you look at a guy like Trey Amos, who we did draft, kind of long arms like yourself, man. How excited were you to see a guy like that get, even though he ain't from Mississippi?
No, he can play. Like when
He's from Louisiana.
He went to Old Misery now, so you know I hold it against him. But the thing I can say about this kid, 1, he's a competitor. Like you said, 2, he's long, and his ball skills are off the charts. He can find the ball with any player, so he's not going to have a problem with the tall receivers, shouldn't have a problem with the small receivers. Good outside corner. He's a future pick. He one of these guys that a true commander that you're going to watch him grow.
And Fred, as we look forward now, because these rookies are in the building now, and rookie minicamp is coming up. Fred, I heard you used to give them hell the minute you walked through the door. Talk about some of your favorite rookie minicamp memories, and we're going to go down the line.
Well, first of all, when I first got here to Washington, we had basically the old folks home of Ashburn. So like 75% of my team was veterans. And I ain't talking about 2-year vets. I'm talking about super vets.
Future Hall of Famers.
I'm talking about Bruce Smith. They leaning on me like, cause I'm kind of feisty, so I fight back a little bit. I had a Mercedes-Benz at the time, S500, couldn't tell me nothing. So the first time I refused to sing in the cafeteria, they stole the Mercedes-Benz and parked it on Route 28. Didn't tell me. I waited out in practice. I stayed in practice at like 7 o'clock. Even when we was in track, we were going to Carlisle then, Pennsylvania. We was the last class to go to Carlisle. Now, I don't know, it's like a small campus, dorm room.
Dixon College.
And literally, I'm walking to my dorm room after the second practice, and I look on the ground, I'm like, I got a shirt just like that. And I keep on walking. And I'm like, I got a TV just like that. So when I make it to my room, they done threw all of my stuff just out the window. The next day, the morning practice, because you know we get that nap in between practice, a much needed nap. They literally take me to the field goal post and leave me there until the second practice. Wow. So you wonder why I was so hard on them? That's why I was hard on them, because they was hard on me. All right? It's a rite of passage, though.
You talk a lot,
Fred. Shut them up one way, right?
Here got a true thing. If they messing with you, they like you.
Yeah, true.
And Tanner, you come in with a different type of pressure when you're coming into rookie minicamp because you're a first-round pick for the New York Jets. You're somebody that expectations are high. You're supposed to come in and change the franchise, man. What was that like for you, having all those expectations on your back?
Well, minicamp was kind of fun because, you know, when you come into minicamp, that rookie minicamp, at the time we had a new head coach. So everybody came in for that camp. And the pressure wasn't there. I didn't feel no pressure because I'm just a guy that just loved ball, you know? So I was out there running, strutting my stuff. I remember Wayne Corbett telling me I got to learn another speed because all I knew was to go, you know what I mean? I'm running fast. That's all I knew. That's the only gear I had. So you got to slow down at times. And I didn't really pay heed to that until down the line when I thought about it. I said, well, he's telling me something in there. He's not just telling me to slow down. He's telling me I need to kind of use my mind also than just going out there running full speed all the time. But I had a blast. I didn't have to go through the, the bumps and bruises that he went through. That goes to show you when you come in there with respect, they treat you with respect. He went in there with no respect, so they tied his ass up. But the one thing I will say, I remember the defensive guys, Mo Lewis to be exact, the linebacker. Every time he saw me, he walked by me and said, so they say. They say he fast. So they say. And so he held that over me for so long, bro, until I went out there and really, played the way or played at the potential that they thought that they was getting in the draft pick. So, but just to look back at it, man, I had a blast. And I remember going home after that mini camp. It was a 2-day camp, 2 or 3 day camp. I think it was 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Saturday and Sunday. And I remember my receiver coach at University of Miami. I went back home, went back to UM, and he asked me, he said, besides you, who was the other better receiver out there? Who was one of the best receivers you saw out there? And at the time, it's crazy. People don't know this. Lavernius Coles was still there. But he was on our depth chart as like the 5th receiver. And I told our receiver coach, I said, LC should be playing. I said, I don't know what they doing with him, but if you had to ask me, my naked eye saw a good receiver. And it was crazy that things transpired. He ended up being one of our #1 receivers, and he came over here on a big deal.
Yeah. Yep. And we glad you came over here too, Mr. 8 to the 9.
No,
we traded for himself in the burgundy and gold. Now, B-Mitch, all these brothers are impressive, but to me, your journey was very impressive because in college you were a quarterback.
Yeah.
You came in and changed your entire position, and not only did that, but you became the best at that position, man. Tell us about that journey a little bit and how you were able to go from a quarterback to a future Hall of Famer at returning kick.
Well, I just happened to be a quarterback because I could throw the football. But I always considered myself a football player.
Yeah.
So I had a combination of Fred and Santana. I respected guys because of what they've done, but I wasn't going to take trash off of anybody. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. So I came in yapping. And I got into a fight with Jumpy Gales. He was 6'7", 295 pounds. I gave him 17 stitches. Guys started to respect me a little differently. Gary Clark cannot believe that I was a quarterback ever. He said, a dude that come in here to pick a fight with the biggest guy on the team, he can't be a quarterback. My mindset has been, my dad's a military guy, and he taught me, you got to believe in yourself. And I came in here like that, and I talked. And Coach Gibbs was like, look, man, you can't fight everybody. I said, if I have to, I will. So I came in here as a smaller guy, but was a lot stronger than they thought. I power clean 385. I bench 435 and I squat 615.
Similar to me.
In this little body. So I came in to make, I had to change their mindset of me.
Yeah.
Because they thought quarterbacks were soft. I wasn't going to be soft, so I had to be a little tough guy out there in the field. And once I got my opportunity, Coach Gibbs was like, hey, man, you ran a touchdown. Do you think you can return kicks and punts? Yes. I want to get paid for football now. Yeah. They were paying me to play the game that I love. And that's the only reason why I played so long. I never, ever felt like I was working, ever. Just had fun.
Give these brothers a hell yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah. It's time for your winning numbers presented by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. Now, Commanders fans, if you've had fun with us in Franklin Hall, I got good news for you. We'll be going live more often this offseason. The Command Center podcast with Logan Paulson, Santana Moss, and Fred Smoot will be live at Tom's Watch Bar, Navy Yard at 8 p.m. That's May 23rd at 8 p.m. at Tom's Watch Bar, Navy Yard. And stay tuned because we will have more of our podcasts going live in D.C. We want to connect with the fans, and we cannot wait to do that. So stay tuned for more info on that. We want to give each and everybody their flowers. So first things first, give it up for Logan Paulson. Again, you can catch him on the Game Plan, Ticket to the Draft, and the Command Center podcast, and of course our flagship show, Command Center. Give it up for the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot.
I was supposed to go last, but
You still can't cook.
You can catch him on Get Loud, the Command Center podcast, and of course our flagship show, Command Center and Barstool. Give it up for the coolest guy to ever rock the burgundy and gold, Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss.
Santa man.
Yes. You can catch him on Emmy-nominated Players Club.
Talk about
on the Command Center podcast, on Game Day with me and B-Mitch, and post-game live with me and B-Mitch. And you can catch him just everywhere.
We
You
have
just
fun on
always
the
doing
road.
side missions everywhere you go. And then, last but not least, let's get real loud for a brother that brought a Super Bowl to the city. Super Bowl champion and future Hall of Famer, right? Say it with me. Future Hall of Famer, Brian Mitchell. Yes, yes, yes. And last but not least, give it up to our amazing studio crew.
Yeah.
We have our producer, Kayla Key, and our director,
Kayla,
taking care of the cameras. Yes, yes. Her twin Amber Keys right there. Shout out to Maddie Benton, our lead producer. She built this entire show. She keeps the things running. We just do the talking. Shout out to our audio guy, our director, our everything, our producer, Jason Johnson, on the ones and twos, making sure we sound good. And the producer, Get Loud, Prime Time, and the new Kirk, give it up for her.
Best producer we got.
The boss man, Ryan Yoakum in the cut.
Yeah.
Give him some love too. He set this whole thing up for y'all, and we want to do
Give
more of
yourself
this.
some love, man. What the hell?
I'm Brian Colbert Jr. I got next man up. Y'all go check it out when y'all got some time. Give it up for y'all, the Commanders fans.
Yeah.
I'ma stand up for y'all.
Thank y'all.
Y'all
Thank
look
y'all.
good. It was raining. It was inclement weather out there, and y'all pulled up for us. Thank y'all so much.
Appreciate
so
y'all.
what y'all gonna do is y'all gonna make sure y'all subscribe to the Commanders YouTube page. And hit that doorbell to be notified every single time we post, because we give you content every single day. As you heard, these brothers are there for all of that. We got free hats in the building. I know y'all love free stuff. Just like me, get a hat to keep yourself dry. And y'all gonna have some time to take photo ops with these gentlemen. I'm gonna get up out the way, and I'm gonna let them do their thing. Talk to them, ask them questions, hug them, kiss Fred. He loves that kind of stuff. And y'all have fun. Thank y'all so much. This is Command Center, a special out in Franklin Hall in D.C. with the best fans in the NFL.
Hell yeah.
For Brian Colbert Jr., Brian Mitchell, Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, Logan Paulson, we out this thing. Y'all have fun.